For the Ondeh Ondeh, before we even start making it, we have to complete a few mise en place. The first mise en place that we'll be looking at is actually making the thick pandan juice for the coloration of the Ondeh Ondeh. What we have here is 10 leaves of pandan, 4 tablespoons of water, and a strong blender. Once we have washed the pandan leaves, we will need to cut it into smaller pieces and put it into the strong blender. This is to ensure that we extract as much of the natural green coloring from the leaves itself. Of course, if you see there's a very vibrant green, then they might have actually used artificial pandan coloring in the Ondeh Ondeh. So this is how you actually differentiate. You need to make sure that the blending goes on for as long as you can to get a fine pulp. Once you have your blended pandan leaf, please pass it through a fine cheesecloth. Over here, I'm using a green chalk because green chalk in my household is used for food preparation and blue is for cleaning the table. Squeeze and extract as much of the green juice you can because this is the color of your Ondeh Ondeh. Once you are done with the fibrous pulp, please throw it into the bin and not down your pipe. And there you have it, your 2 tablespoons of thick pandan juice. With the pandan juice done, now we are looking at the coating for the Ondeh Ondeh, which is 200 grams of freshly grated coconut, 1 leaf of pandan for aroma, and a 1/4 teaspoon of salt for a bit of taste. Now put all your ingredients into a bowl, cover it with cling wrap, and we're going to steam it for 10 minutes. Now 10 minutes is up, and we are going to switch off the fire. Upon removing the coconut from the steamer, you have to give it a good mix, as the salt is only sprinkled on the top, and now you need to mix the salt in throughout the whole bowl of grated coconut. Remove the pandan leaf as well, as it has done its part of imparting flavor and aroma to the coconut. Now, press through the entire coconut to make sure that all the big lumps have been loosened up. Now you need to actually transfer the coconut into a big tray or a flat plate so that the coconut can cool down thoroughly and quickly, as the residue heat may cause the coconut to turn sour, and that's not what we want. Last but not least, we will be looking at chopping up the gula melaka, which is our coconut palm sugar. Coconut palm sugar has a lower melting point than our normal sugar. Hence, when we are boiling the Ondeh Ondeh, it will actually melt and become a liquid center for our dish. However, to hasten the process, we will need to chop it up as small as possible, render it to a powder form. Of course, we have to do this quite fast, as the chopping motion will actually make the gula melaka melt faster, which is not what we want, as the more melted it is, the harder it is to handle. So you can see, work with a small amount at one time so that you will not run into a situation whereby you still have large chunks of gula melaka, but the smaller ones have already started to melt. This is a very, very important step in our Ondeh Ondeh. Ingredients required for the dough will be 200 grams of glutinous rice flour, 120 ml of water, 2 tablespoons of thick pandan juice, 40 ml of coconut milk, and 1 tablespoon of our normal cooking oil. When mixing the dough together, I will always mix all my wet ingredients together first. So into the water, I'll add the oil. Thereafter, followed by the pandan juice. And lastly, the coconut milk. Make sure that you have a spatula to scrape all the ingredients in. Give the wet ingredients a good mix and make a well in the middle of your glutinous rice flour and pour everything in there. Use a spatula to mix it first so that the liquid will not get stuck to your fingers, hence causing more of a mess. Mix until you get a rough dough already and you know that it will not be stuck to your fingers. Remove the excess from the spatula and start with your fingers. Knead everything together. You may feel that it is slightly dry at this moment, but please do not be tempted to add any water. You will just need to work the dough. At this moment in time, you do not have to worry about overworking the dough or developing the gluten, as gluten in rice flour is very minimum. So there's actually no such worries, just work the dough. See, it's a pliable dough. Continue mixing, and once you have a rough dough already, take out about 40 grams of the dough, which is what I'm doing right now. This is the secret to a good elastic Ondeh Ondeh skin. I have dropped the 40-gram piece of dough into boiling water to cook it thoroughly. This is my secret to a thin and chewy Ondeh Ondeh dough. Well, by cooking it out, we will actually increase the elasticity of the dough itself, making our life slightly easier when we are trying to roll it out and incorporate the gula melaka in the middle. Remember this little secret. Once you have added the cooked dough into the rest of your Ondeh Ondeh dough, you have to start kneading it to form a smooth dough. It might feel a bit sticky at the initial stage, but please do not be tempted to add extra glutinous rice flour because you will actually change the consistency. Just move it onto your tabletop and continue kneading it until it is a smooth and not sticky dough. Takes about 15 minutes. After about 15 minutes of kneading, you will realize that your dough has become very elastic, less sticky and shiny. This is the texture and consistency that you will be looking for when you are making it yourself at home. Place your dough in a bowl and cover it up, allowing to rest for 15 minutes. While waiting for your dough, wrap a tray up in cling wrap. Now your dough is ready for portioning. Divide your dough up into 15-gram portions and have a teaspoon ready by your gula melaka. Now we come to the challenging part, which is rounding the dough in the palm of your hand until it's roughly a round dough. Press it with your thumb and your forefinger to make it into a little cup with a slight thickness in the middle and thin on the outside. Spoon a heaped teaspoon of gula melaka in the middle, pressing the gula melaka in, and wrap it out like you are doing a Chinese dumpling. Sealing the sides together, pressing it into a rough ball and gently rolling it in the palm of your hand. This step needs to be as gentle as possible as the gula melaka are still solid and might break through the dough. Once there's a hole in the dough, when you're cooking it, it will tend to leak and you will not have a Ondeh Ondeh with a gula melaka filling. Instead, you will have Ondeh Ondeh in gula melaka soup. So this is an important step that requires a bit of practice. Once your water is boiling, do turn down the heat a bit to make sure that you maintain the water temperature at 85 degrees to 90 degrees Celsius. Drop your Ondeh Ondeh one by one into the boiling water, far away from each other. This is to ensure that they do not stick together while boiling in the pot. Once your Ondeh Ondeh is floating, remove it from the pot with a slotted spoon. Drop it into your steam grated coconut and give it a bit of a jiggle, moving it around to fully coat your Ondeh Ondeh. There you have it. Delicious, warm Ondeh Ondeh with a liquid center, like a Chinese xiaolongbao, with the juices exploding when you bite into it. Simple, yet delicious.